That's the media coverage coming out of President Trump's historic trip to Paris. We have a Washington Post op-ed says that major media outlets focus more on minutia than on the substance of that trip. Let's take a quick check of media stocks. You have Time Warner, 21st Century Fox, the parent company of Fox Business, and Disney all ending higher, while Comcast closed lower today. Joining me now, he is the author of the op-ed, The Media Martyr Complex. He's the editor of the Hillsborough, Ohio Times-Gazette. He is Gary Abernathy. Good to see you, Gary.
Liz, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Now, as a newspaper editor and publisher, why did you write this opinion piece? It sounds like you're tired of the media acting like it itself is synonymous with the First Amendment, as you said, when they are supposed to look up to that standard and be journalists and report on all policy choices, right?
Well, I think so. You know, there's no balance we see anymore. It's like, you know, and Liz, I hate criticizing the media. I am part of the media. Even though we're a small part, we have a small paper in Hillsborough. But, you know, there are so many things to cover, and it's like they get a hold of a bone and just drag it out forever and ever, endlessly. And let's put it in perspective. You know, I'm not someone who says that Russia is fake news. I don't think it's fake news. I think it's a real thing to look into. But there are still not enough facts to make it the wall-to-wall coverage that we see from so many networks and even from our print colleagues.
That's a good point. Now, you know, you have pointed out in your opinion piece, which is terrific, I encourage people to read Gary Abernathy's piece, that you said, you know, there was a lot of news going on, a ceasefire in Syria that was brokered. You know, a lot of things that were happening, but the liberal media zoomed in hard on another topic it deemed very important to this trip to Paris. Let me tell you just some of them. Trump tells Brigitte Macron, quote, "You're in such good shape." That's from CNN. Trump criticized for a creepy comment to the First Lady of France. Trump in France tells Brigitte, again, "You're in such good shape." That's the New York Times. So as a newsman, Gary, what is your take on that comment that's seemingly like the most important thing coming out of the Paris trip?
Yeah. Well, let's be honest. Donald Trump is a flirt. You know, the President Trump flirts with people. He just does. But I don't think that's an inappropriate comment. He's a guy who's a businessman. He's used to complimenting people. You look great today. Love those cufflinks. You know, what a great suit. And you're in great shape. I mean, and really, I mean, sure, it's something to maybe poke some fun at. But to act like it's some outrageous thing, that's the part of it I don't get.
Yeah, Gary.
You know, so I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
Well, with so much other things going on in the world, with so much important things, the Poland speech was really important. You know, whether you thought it was great, as a lot of people did, or whether you were critical of it, that's what we should be talking about, what he said in Poland. The Syrian ceasefire that came out of the G20 meeting with Vladimir Putin. That's a very important. Shouldn't we be spending an hour talking about that? Shouldn't we be spending an hour with experts talking about that rather than, you know, talking about whether someone didn't shake his hand correctly? I read a whole article about the awkward handshake. Their hands missed each other. And really? This is a news item. I don't get it.
Right. And, you know, it was the year anniversary of the horrific Nice attack where 86 people were killed last year. The President and the President of France talked a lot about the war on terror. And Gary, I mean, ISIS is being run out of town in both Raqqa and Mosul. I mean, that's a big story, right?
Yeah. Well, there are so many successes. And again, part of it, I do agree with people who say the Trump White House is not doing a good enough job of trying to grab control of the narrative. I used to work in politics, too. And, you know, one thing you do is at least push your news out there, whether the media grabs it or not, and maybe they'll say they are. But there are better ways to focus on the accomplishments. I mean, the stock market continues to break records every day. The economy's rolling along. There's so much good happening. We need to focus on that, too. But again, I want to clarify, Liz, as a journalist, I have no problem with critical coverage. I have no problem with the Russia investigation. But it's just constant. It's, you know, Johnny One-Note thing. It's Russia, Russia, Russia. As I said in my column, it's like the Beetlejuice thing. If we say Russia, Russia, Russia often enough, maybe the genie will pop out of the bottle and get rid of our boogeyman, Donald Trump. Well, Gary, that's not what we're supposed to be doing as journalists.
Gary, you're a great writer and a great journalist, and we're so happy you came on the show. Thank you so much for your time, sir.